After what was one of the most historic throws in LCS history, we have the victorious Revenge here, where Immortals took down CLG after being down 10K. I'm sure he got interviewed by everyone asking how the game was, but my mans, can you tell me what that is like being 0-0-0 for so much of the time, feeling the other team scaling, not getting to do anything? What were you specifically feeling in that game? I'm sure the team was feeling one way, but what were you feeling?
Well, at some point of the game, you kind of like take on this role, and that you know that okay, if I fall apart, it's doomed. You know, so you want to have. I'm a really optimistic guy, so I like just trying to hold that optimism. Like, guys, I've won from Gwen here. I've won in this position as Gwen before. Like, we can do this. I'm scaling. Like, I'm getting insane items, and then like Insanity was on the same boat as me. He's like, yeah, guys, like my Syndra's scaling as well. You know, I mean, I actually do think like the scaling that game is like relatively even. You know, GP scales just as hard as Gwen. Tristana scales just as hard as Syndra, and I do think like Kalista does get like outscaled, but she was really accelerated that game, so it wasn't really the case.
Yeah.
So just during the game, I was trying to remind our team, hey guys, we're scaling. My champ is really OP and strong later on. We're getting there. Every time I'm getting item spikes, I'm like, guys, oh my gosh, I'm so strong right now. Like we can any like fighter on me will win, you know, and stuff like that. But I don't think it was like I didn't like carry the team on my back this game or anything like that. It was like a collective effort of us like just playing the map better and stuff and playing off of their just ints. So that was like at least how we ended up like bringing it back. But just like in terms of like the positivity and like the atmosphere you bring in that game when you're not the one that's behind, that's kind of what I was pushing, at least in the team.
Yeah, I like how you called it the moniker of taking on that role of the positive one while just suffocation down on the opposite side of the map where you weren't able to get anything. You guys get the Baron steal, big steal, and then you just make this aggressive call on the bottom side of the map. Go take everything. Go take the tower. Go take the inhib. Were you surprised on how much they were waiting, or did you know, hey, this is our tempo, and they just can't do anything as long as we stay clumped together?
Well, actually, I knew. I'm like, guys, they can't actually hit me on the tower. So as I went up to hit the tower, every turret, especially like Tristana, no one can actually do anything to me at that point. I'm just one-shotting both of their turrets, like their tier 3, tier 2, and then when we get to their inhib turret, it was just literally the same thing. I'm like, okay, well, I'm just gonna pop W, walk up and kill the turret and see what they do, and they just didn't do anything. So I was kind of like, okay, well, let's keep going, I guess. And then they were like kind of inting as well. They were just getting caught out, and at that point, I knew. I'm like, okay, well, at this point, I'm kind of in my comfort zone in a sense. Like I really felt like, okay, I'm scaled now. If they fight us, it's just going to be kind of just, you know, better team fight wins, but they just didn't fight us, so it felt really awkward. And then, yeah, I kind of, at that point, the momentum on our team was going. And once our momentum starts going, I felt like there's no way we'll lose.
That's so funny because still at that point, you all were still down like, I think 5,000 gold.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I mean,
after you guys like thought about ending the game, and I was like, holy cow, they're going to win with a gold deficit and 0 kills at that point because CLG's not doing anything. Did you guys know that at that time, or it was just, hey, we feel good now? Now we're only down 5,000 instead of 10,000.
Honestly, like I don't think most pro players are even thinking about gold deficit while they're playing in terms of like the overall gold deficit. But it's kind of more like, at least my thoughts in the whole game is like matching like how strong is who and what can our champion's strengths do. Like that game at that point, I knew no one can sideline versus me anymore. Yeah. So like anytime anyone's walking up to a wave on me in side wave, they just can't. Right?
Gotcha.
And I knew that that's what my strength was at that point. But then I also knew like, okay, in 5v5, like GP has his ulti, his barrel chains, like he can make a huge mess. So like I'm trying to like make a plan with our team. Okay, this is how we're going to team fight against GP. He's gonna ulti, he's gonna use his barrel chains. We just have to kite back. Same thing with like Diana flash ulti. Like we're basically just as a team going over like all these scenarios and fights, like how they want to win the fight and how we want to win the fight at that point. So that's pretty much like what's going through our comms while we're sieging. And then at the same time, I'm also just trying to like constantly think, how are they going to try to like counter our, especially when we got Baron, how are they going to counter our siege? What can they even do at this point, right?
Yeah.
And it was stressful. Like it was getting stressful, but uh, I was more focused on just like, okay, I need to win this game. I really can't. I really do not want to lose, especially after yesterday's loss.
For
So
sure,
to
for
TSM.
sure, for sure. Now, I want to step away from this game and its historic implications to now, like, you and your so-called still rookie year. You spent time over at FlyQuest in your development on the academy squad. You got to see Solo get bumped on in after they decided to move on from Viper. Now you get your shot over here on Immortals. You make a huge splash after dumpstering Alfari a couple times, I think, in solo kills. And then it kind of cooled off, and then you guys had this great start to the summer split. It's been a roller coaster. How's it been for you in your development from the beginning of the year to now?
It's crazy. I'm a much different player. I feel like every month even, it's just like I'm learning so much and developing so quickly, and a huge like credit goes to Giotto for that as well. He's really helped shape me out of just lane phase as a player because I just didn't really know much about how to actually carry a game and how to be this like person that can like actually be like a star player or like someone who can like really be played through, win a game through. You know, I just knew how to get advantages, and oftentimes I would throw them, or I would just not know what to do with them, or I would view the game in a way that wasn't really like just good overall. Like I would view it too much through like just win top, like get a top lead, like because that's just like what I knew from solo queue. It's just like my habit. Like if I get a lead in solo queue, there's going to be so many mistakes on the map that like I'll just win through that. But it's just so much different coming into pro play, and having that kind of mentoring and coaching has helped me so much.
Yeah. Yeah. And now, how would you say, what is the biggest area of growth? Because, you said it was very lane focused, and now you think about the map more, but how would you classify yourself as a player now?
Well, I think the biggest area in growth for me is like adapting my role in the game and understanding how I can use my like basically knowing, for example, when I'm no longer the carry, when I'm just the person who is just facilitating for the team, or maybe needing less resources, or like just kind of, and it's just interchangeable in every game, right? Like just knowing what my role is and adapting to it in the game when something crazy happens, right?
Yeah.
And I think that is like something that separates like just the best players, to be honest. And it takes a lot. It's really hard to be self-aware of it because a lot of people view players like having a niche or a kind of play style, right?
Right.
And for top lane, it's not that easy to have that because of how it just mainly because of like how metas are. Like sometimes like metas just force top laners to have to be a carry champion, for example, or play in these like or play these non-carry styles like tanks or even enchanters, right? It just like it's so beneficial as a player on a team, especially for like playoff situations, to just have this like understanding of what you can actually do in the game just to win. Like have that winning mindset rather than just like I need to win lane, I need to like carry the game, right? It's definitely something I need the most improvement at, and
Yeah.
I'm still learning how to do it. It's going to probably take some time, and yeah, like you said, it's my first year, and I'm feeling good about how much I've progressed, and I just think like at least in esports right now, what I'm mainly wanting to prove, especially closing out this year, is that I'm not at my ceiling. I'm
Right.
nowhere near my ceiling. Despite like my age, despite like just how long I've been playing or how long I've been in the pro scene, which is not very long, right? I just want everyone to know I'm nowhere near my ceiling, and that there's just so much for me left to prove.
It's funny because you're like, yeah, top laners, you're just so used to just focusing on win lane, win game, and there's so much more like team play necessary. Like that's just part of solo queue, isn't it? Like it's in the name of the way that we practice solo queue, right? Can you imagine go to solo queue and being like, all right, I'll play tank top, we'll go 0-0-0, and we'll, facilitate for someone else to hard carry. Like, rarely do you do that and mean that in solo queue. So I like that that story that you gave there for us. Now, kind of looking to the future of the squad, you guys had a couple of tough strings of weeks losses in a row there. What's the form of the team including this win. Yeah, it was an ugly win, but a win's a win. Moving forward, as we only have 2 weeks left before playoffs.
Well, we actually do really try to follow Kyoto's perspective really closely about just taking every game at a time and just improving, like just trying to play our games out, especially on stage, in a way that we can learn from them, especially nearing playoffs. Because for us, it's like, it is best of ones, you know? Like you take this game against CLG and say the next game we decimate them and end the game in like 15, 20 minutes, right? We wouldn't really be like talking too much about like, oh, like Immortals is looking like this and they're, you know, from game 1, right? Like we're gonna look at, wow, like no, but look at their strengths in game 2 or game 3, right? In like a best of 3, best of 5 scenario. So like it's really critical in BO1 to just try to replicate practice as much as possible and like see what is going wrong on stage, because scrims are just so different than how some of these games play out, and it's always going to be like that.
All right. Well, again, a win is a win. You guys get off, that loss against TSM on Saturday with the win over CLG today. And bodes well for the playoff form moving forward. Revenge, everybody. Thanks for making time with me, brother.
Yep. See you.